A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Survival of No Limits. And now for today's segment on Survival of No Limits, I'm more than proud to say that I'm actually going to have a nice run here. A lot of stuff here will potentially be pretty easy, but let's just say that this one is certainly not for the faint of heart, because solar flares is what's up next. This is episode 47, and, well, that's pretty much just it. Solar flares. The sun is certainly quite a big part of our solar system. It's provided a lot of light to most of our planets. It's provided natural warmth to most areas, sometimes being too hot or being not as hot as it should be. And Earth can technically be somewhere in the middle, basically being too hot or too cold. And this is mostly because of what seasons happen to do. Sure, you might as well argue about that kind of stuff, but astronomy is a pretty big mystery, even to this day. But the thing is, if there's one type of power that the sun seems to have that we are still unable to realize, it would be solar flares. It's a typical process where the sun unleashes a large photon wave that actually acts much like an electromagnetic pulse. So in layman's terms, it could actually cause some devastating effects if these kinds of rays were to penetrate through the Earth's atmosphere. Chances are that you might be seeing, well, from the typical effects of an EMP-related thing taking place to some more catastrophic things that would happen. A solar flare would most likely cause a lot of knockouts in most power relays and grids, as well as a lot of other energy outputs that just so happen to continue to run the world through today. So, that of course is a pretty big deal, but the main thing is, well, it's blowing in the wind again. Well, the main thing about a solar flare would probably be the fact that at some point, if we were in fact able to figure something like this out, then unfortunately there just doesn't really seem to exist any sort of countermeasure that we could have to keep the solar flares from penetrating through the stratosphere and getting down to, well, ground level. So we don't really have many ways of, well, ensuring that a solar flare wouldn't hit us. But the thing is, whenever a solar flare would hit this planet, it's viable to have any types of survival skills, any type of medical knowledge, and all sorts of other things that would be necessary to be able to survive without a world of electricity and energy that we traditionally have been using for such a long time. And of course, the big thing is that solar flares sure are quite a thing out there that might seem rare, but I wouldn't really go off to bet on something being on that sort of part of the rarity scale. So the big thing is that, well, you can't really do much about something like this. And chances are, even if we could find a way to countermeasure against something like this, then, well, it could take a while to at least determine what would be the best way to reflect a flare away from the Earth's surface and also away from the magnetic field that occupies it. So that's pretty much just what the bottom line to all this is. But we can at least rest easy knowing that solar flares, while they are rare, they don't really seem to always be as effective in terms of taking out society as it has proven to show a long time ago. So that's pretty much just what that's all about, and I will again point out that I'm going to have a lot more subjects to talk about pretty soon. But if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.